with Beard! Hello, podcast kittens. It's Cathy Cat and...
Oh, Ladybeard coming at you with another rib-tickling edition of Cat with Beard! We have a particularly special guest amongst us today, ladies and gentlemen. All our guests are special, but today...
Ultra special
guest. Today we have the one and only Mr. Sean Nichols. Say hello, sir.
Hello, everyone. Hello, Ladybeard. Hello,
Cathy
Cathy
Cat.
Cat. I almost called you Cat Lady, which is not the right IP.
That's all right.
Okay,
She loves
I'll
cats.
take that. You
Yes.
can call me whatever.
Thank you.
Catwoman, you're like a Batman villain
Exactly.
Ooh, exactly. I
We
thought
might-
she was look good too.
now. Might have a copyright problem we
Oh,
need
no,
to deal
yeah.
with.
Cathy Cat. And please introduce yourself. We have
Okay.
ultra special guest.
Yes. My name is Sean Nichols. I am originally from the U.S. I've been in Japan for over 20 years. I've had a really interesting career, a lot of work, some salaryman type normal Japanesey kind of stuff, all the way through to entertainment, acting, comedy. It's been I've run the whole table on anything you could do in Japan. So it's
Run the gamma.
yeah.
Exactly. And you were actually a request by Ladybeard
Oh my
to
God.
come on our
I know.
podcast.
People, dear friends, let me explain. I actually have to tell you, this is a profound moment for me.
Yes.
So, avid listeners of the show will know about my history and know that I used to be a voice dubber in Hong Kong, where I used to live. Sean acted in the series Ultraman Max. So, one of the various Ultraman
Yes.
series. And when I was a dubber in my previous life, I dubbed him into English from Japanese.
Yes.
In Ultraman Max.
So
I guess.
you slipped into his role, so you feel very connected in a way.
Very connected. It's a profound thing to meet you because I watched every episode of Ultraman doing your voice and matching your lips as they moved.
And it's very bizarre for me to know that someone took my voice into English. I guess my English was just not good enough.
Well,
I guess.
you know, standards. Yeah, man. So it's really remarkable to meet you.
Yeah, it's amazing to meet you too. And I did not know that it was you that did my voice. I had heard rumors that someone else had dubbed my voice into English, and it had nothing to do with Tsuburaya Productions, the people who make Ultraman, for those who don't know. And I was taken aback. I'm like, well, why didn't you call me to do that? But anyway, I'm glad to know it was you. I'm extremely honored to have someone as famous as you play Shaun White.
By Sean White?
On,
Sean White
Ultraman Max.
I like how they named the character.
Yeah, that's what I've been thinking the entire
They
time.
took your actual name and he's a white man. Sean
White.
That's fine.
Oh, dear.
I love it.
And I don't know if we're going to step on what we're going to talk about later, but there is a great story behind how that name happened.
great. Good.
And your intuition of how it came true is not very far from reality. Yes.
I love it. That's fantastic. All right. So,
So,
before
okay.
we get to that,
Okay, cool.
Let's start at the very beginning. Where you're from? How did you
Yes.
get from where you were then to where you are now?
Okay, born and raised outside of Washington, D.C., in a place called Reston, Virginia, if anyone knows of that.
Reston, Virginia.
It's immortalized in the song. No, I'm just kidding. It's actually West Virginia. Is
I
the
know.
lyric.
I tried to give it a bit of a tune
Thank you.
there.
But I'd love to change it. Think we could do that? Let's do it. All right, cool.
Get your own song.
And then, so then went to university in Pennsylvania, university called Penn State University.
Penn State.
Then while I was there, I had a double major, marketing and international business. Okay. And in order to get an international business major, you had to study abroad. That was one of the requirements.
Had to.
And since most Americans are like allergic to being bilingual, most people would go to London or Sydney and just be done with it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But since I was studying business, it was right about the time that Japan had this bubble economy, and they were this economic miracle, and everyone was singing their praises, and I was studying, oh, wow, Japanese business is what everyone should be emulating going forward. So I thought, well, if I could learn how to speak Japanese, then I could get a real good job and make some real money after I graduated. So that's why I came to Japan. Went to Kyoto, lived in Kyoto with a host family who spoke no English.
Oh,
so it was
perfect.
just
Way to do it.
totally immersed, 24 hours a day, looking at dictionaries to find the word that I wanted to say. And eventually, 3 or 4 months later, I could communicate. It surprised me. It was like one day I woke up and I'm like, huh, I can kind of speak Japanese now, and it was just like that.
It's usually the 4-month gap. I find that personally, like you stuck it out for 4 months, and then
Yes.
something clicks. You probably felt that as well.
I've been here 10 years and I'm still terrible at it.
So how long was that exchange in total?
Just 4 months total, and then I stuck around for another month for just traveling, because it was summer vacation. So I just did a little traveling around Japan, China, and then went back to university. Had one more semester to graduate, and then I was like, well, okay, got to get a job. I speak Japanese, and if I don't go back to Japan, this language that I've learned, this amazing new skill that I've acquired, is just going to fade away. So I looked really hard. And I heard a rumor that the NBA, the National Basketball Association, I don't know if you're basketball fans, but Michael Jordan was super popular at the time, and people all over Japan loved the NBA. So the NBA was going to come to Japan and make an office. So I heard that, and I'm like, that sounds good. I'm a huge basketball fan, and I played basketball my whole life as a kid all the way through to even now I play. But so for me, Japan plus basketball, that was the perfect job. So I called everyone I could. I called in favors, finally found someone who could connect me to the person in charge of the Japan office expansion, and I begged my way into a job.
You begged your way into a job in the NBA. That's very impressive.
In Japan?
Yeah.
Wow, you
realize you
pulled
could
it
beg
all
your
the
way into a job in the NBA.
It was rough. I said, look, I'll make my way there. All you got to do is give me a visa. I'll take crap salary, whatever you want to give me. I just want to get that job. So that's how it happened.
Have you noticed it's a common theme amongst all our guests? They're like, well, I'll just let's figure it out. Like, I'll take whatever hits I need to. I've got the goal. Let's figure it out.
Yep.
Almost all our guests say the same thing.
Everyone has to kind of battle to find their place here.
Hold on. Am I going to get this right? To make something, to go from a dream to a goal is action, right? So if something will always be a dream, but if you take action and then you can actually make it a goal. It's not a goal until you start doing something to achieve it.
It's the real thing.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. So you've come to Kyoto. You speak Japanese now. You're in the NBA. That's a long...
Japanese NBA?
Yeah, the Japanese NBA, which is a long way from being Shaun White and Ultraman Max.
Yes.
So what happened next?
Okay, so as I was in the NBA, I had another friend who was in a Japanese talent agency. He was another American guy, and he had this really cool gig where he would go out on the weekends to all these faraway places, these really cool scenic, touristy places, go there, eat good food, and then report on that place as it from the standpoint of a foreigner. And when I saw that, dude, that's an amazing job. You get paid for this too.
Travel, food, and getting paid for it? Yeah.
I'm like, if there's ever a chance where, I can do that, I could speak Japanese. I'm okay. I'm a foreigner. I'd love to do this. Well, anyway, lo and behold, one day came when he couldn't do the thing. And they're like, so they asked, would you like to come in and do it? And I was like, yeah, sure. And they said, okay, they want you to have an audition. And I was like, oh, crap, I've never had an audition before. So I went in. It was at Nikkei, Nihon Television.
Nihon Television, which
Yes.
is one of the big TV stations.
Yes. And so I went into this conference room, and I sat there, and then the producer came in, sat down, asked me a few questions in Japanese, what my name was, where I'm from, what I do. 10 minutes later, okay, done. I'm like, whoa, that was the audition.
Hey!
That was the easiest audition in the world, right? So,
Wow, man.
So then I got the job, and then I became a regular on that show. Every week they would have a corner just for me to go out and. It was actually a sports show. It was called Sports Max, if anyone remembers from way back in the day.
Sports Max.
Yeah, and so we would go and do investigations on Japanese soccer and Japanese baseball, and you can't play catch in parks in Japan, and so as an American,
you can't. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
There's some sign up saying you can't throw balls.
Exactly.
I thought that was just like the parks I've seen.
Yeah, no.
I thought that too, but yeah.
So we would always try to do something good at the end of the show. So what we did is we went to the local government office and said, hey, instead of saying let's not play catch, because when I was a kid in the U.S., I would play catch with my dad, and it was great. It was such a good experience. Yeah, and so instead of saying no throwing balls in the park, it just says don't annoy other people. right? So it's like, so we got them to change. So actually, you could now throw balls as long as you didn't annoy other people in the park.
I
So
see.
that was kind of the thing. We tried to do good stuff like that.
That's awesome.
So then once I got that job, right, the agency had to accept me into the
I
agency,
see,
right?
I see.
And so once you're in the agency, then their job is to find you more jobs,
Do
right?
more work, yes.
And then after that show ended, a NHK English show audition happened. And this was more of a proper audition, right?
Oh, it's NHK. It's like
Yes,
the
exactly.
the TV station here
the
in Japan.
magic letters,
Yes.
NHK.
NHK. That's like everyone's CNN or BBC.
Yes,
ABC,
exactly.
Fozzie's, yeah.
So I went there and then I got that job. And once NHK hires you one time, they are really good about reusing you over and over and over. So for about the next 3 years or so, I was probably on every NHK English show there was,
Hey,
in
that's
some way or
awesome.
the other.
That's awesome.
And the whole time I was still working, right? So I told them, I'm like, look, if you want to hire me, I can only film on the weekends.
Right.
Which made my life incredibly busy. I think at some point along there I counted them, 578 straight days without a day off.
Oh,
Wow.
that's brutal,
Yes.
man.
What
That
were you
was rough.
doing during the weekday then?
Well, I was working at the NBA at the time.
Okay, so
Yeah.
NBA on the weekend NHK.
Exactly.
But hang on, did you usurp your friend's job because you became the regular? Did he get axed because of you?
No, we actually did it together.
Okay, I
Okay.
see.
Yes.
Okay, well, that's
What
that's
a
very
bit of
nice.
drama
Yes.
here.
Yeah,
Ooh,
I
I'm
know.
gonna pour the tea.
That would be funny though. Yeah, no. Yes. So anyway, then after doing the NHK jobs for a while, I got a offer to come and do an audition for a kids show. Now this is a proper show on NHK. It's on every day. Every kid in Japan watches this. It's like the radio. When you wake up in the morning and you have a kid that's under 5, you just turn this on,
Right.
and there's like a series of shows, and this show is one of those shows.
Are you allowed
And-
to say the title?
Of course, it's called Eigo de Asobo.
Eigo de
There we
Asobo.
go.
Yep.
Everyone's heard it.
It's
Let's play in
let's
English.
play in English, yeah. And so then I got that show, and then shit got real because then it was like a real show, real recording. And I told them, like, I can only do this on the weekends, And they were like, oh, okay, we'll do it, but you have to take one day off a month because there's songs on the show, so you have to go into
Go to
a
a
proper
recording
studio and sing.
Right.
So that had to be a different day. So I had to take one day off of work per month, and then I was filming on the weekends.
Wow.
Yeah.
And now, this is a bit off topic.
Sure.
but Did this NHK gig did that either amplify or detract from your NBA gig?
Well, it became a little weird because people started recognizing me.
Of
Oh, so you go
course.
into the boardroom and people are like, oh,
Yes.
my kid watches you.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see.
Luckily, it's more of a mom thing than a dad thing. So the dads really didn't recognize me, but
okay.
I literally could not go into a park. Like if I were to go into Yoyogi Park, it would cause chaos because
Really?
there would be me, a ring of kids around me, and a ring of moms around the kid pushing their kid. Say hi to Michael Raptone. That was my name on the show. It's Michael Raptone.
Michael Raptone.
Yeah, that was me.
Raptone.
We were the Raptone family. We had
Really?
I had a wife and a kid and a pet worm and a
Wow. Okay, that's
Yeah, the
not what I
usual.
expected
No.
you to say.
Wife, kid, pet,
and there was
word
a big
sounds like
monster
perfect
that lived with
family.
us too named JB. Yeah, it was
Did you
great.
rap?
No, we sang. We just sang. I mean,
Okay.
maybe we rapped once or twice,
all right,
but yeah,
fair enough.
yeah.
Wow, the Raptones.
Raptones.
Okay, well, sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Raptone.
Yeah,
The
exactly.
Raptone family.
Right, so
now we're
kids
gonna-
and mums, awesome.
Yes,
So
we're
now-
gonna get to Ultraman soon. I promise.
No, that's
So
good.
then, as I was on that show, one of the producers at Ultraman had a kid who watched me, and they were like, "Oh, he's kind of cool. He's funny. He speaks Japanese." We've never had a foreigner ever on Ultraman. Maybe it's time.
Wow,
Oh,
so
good.
thanks
That's progressive.
Yes, exactly.
Thanks to that kid, a foreigner got a chance.
Yeah, I know. If it wasn't for that 3-year-old kid
Wow.
liking me on that show and telling their dad about me, then
Really?
yeah.
Little Chihiro or whoever
Yeah,
it was.
and by the way, that kid probably now is an adult, 25 years old or something like that, because
well.
that was 2001, right?
Thank you, sir or madam or whoever you may be.
If you're out there, thank you. Appreciate it.
Hang on now, but just quickly, did you have any kind of drama background before you got all these gigs?
Not so much.
Right.
I mean, I wasn't in the drama club in high school or college or anything like that. I mean, I was kind of the class clown, maybe. You know, I thought it was my task every day to make everyone in class bust up laughing at least once a day. So I did try to do that. So maybe that was sort of where it came from. And I don't know.
Well, you're naturally very charming and handsome.
Yes,
so
thank you.
I think the whole thing just fell together.
Yeah, I started blushing when we shook hands when we said hi the first
No,
time.
man, I'm not sure what
still blushing.
power I had. But yes, I should start using that more often. I think.
It's the actor's charm, I
Yes.
call it. The actor's charm. Now, since we are at comedy, you have other experiences in comedy as well.
Yeah.
So were those before or after
No.
Ultraman or during? Like,
Yeah.
there seems to be so many jobs you've done.
Yeah, not a lot.
So this is another little side thing I was doing, and this is all thanks to my manager at this agency. He kind of had this dream that he wanted to take two foreigners, two white guys, and turn them into manzai comedians. Okay.
If you don't know what manzai
Yes.
is, then you haven't watched our episode on Japanese comedy. It's
Yeah.
a kind of two duo comedy
Yeah.
thing.
It's with a straight man and a funny man.
Straight man and a fall guy. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
right.
Yes. And so originally it was going to be the two of us that were in that show together. Remember the guy that pulled me in? Yes. But he was not that kind of guy.
Not kind of that humor
Yeah,
funny.
he didn't have. He was more of a dramatic kind of
I see.
guy, not a funny kind of guy. So he didn't want to stand on stage and be silly. You know, he didn't want to do that. So I went out and found someone else.
Right.
The other, it was like the search was on to find another white guy who could speak Japanese and
Who could be decently funny.
Yeah.
just so happened my best friend was okay to do this, and he's better at Japanese than I was at the time. So we came together and we started writing comedy, and I was the bokeh and he was the tsukomi, and a lot of
you were the bokeh. Oh,
a
good.
lot of physical humor because our Japanese obviously isn't perfect. So we overcame that with a lot of slapping and silliness and like I guess dad jokes, oyaji gagu stuff, and so that was it. And we did a lot of live shows, and eventually we got on this TV show called Vocabula Tengoku.
Oh, okay.
And it's it's probably before your times. It was back in, when was this? 1999
Oh,
or
wow.
2000 or
That's a
something
long
like this.
time ago.
Yeah, this is a
Wow.
long time ago. And
Limp Bizkit had just hit the global scene.
Yes.
Sorry.
So what was your duo name?
well, it's a little embarrassing to say now that I'm a proper adult, but it was Spank the Monkey.
Yes, it was.
We might have to bleep that, yes?
Yes,
I
it
don't know.
was.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes, it was.
And you went on that special show with that name. No one in Japan, it just went over everyone's heads.
Yep.
Like
Well,
mine. I'm German, I don't know.
So here's a funny backstory with that. So I wanted to be. Do you know the rap group NWA?
Yeah.
We all know what that stands for, right?
Yeah, we do.
So I wanted to be.
we don't.
We'll tell
Yes.
you later.
Okay, apparently that's not safe for work.
I wanted to be GWA, Gaijin with attitude.
That's very funny.
But my manager was like, "Oh no, you can't. We don't want you to be like, using that word in that
gaijin.
sense. Yeah,
Really?
we should be rising above that, right?" And I'm like, "Okay, fair enough. So we'll just call ourselves Spank the Monkey and really rise above it." yeah.
That is hilarious.
Yeah. So
NWA were a rap group, a bunch of black dudes. NWA with attitude. So that's what that was all about. So therefore, Gaijin with attitude.
Yes.
That's how that
Gaijin
would
with
make
attitude.
sense.
So it's
How
taking
that
that,
makes
that,
sense.
it's like owning the negative connotation
right.
of the word and just putting it out there. So that's what they did. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna pick up on that and use it. But I don't know. I think Spank the Monkey turned out to be way
That's
funnier. 'Cause
fantastic.
There's nothing better than waiting off stage for an announcer to come on and say, "And next, Spank the Monkey," and then we come out. Yes.
But it would have been with the thick Japanese accent as well, right?
Exactly. Yes.
With the kind
Spank
of-
the Monkey.
Yeah, I love it.
So that was before NHK on the
No.
weekends.
That was kind of as I was doing the NHK work. The comedy thing was sort of like on the side. We were kind of getting better. We were going through we were putting in the late night clubs and doing things in front of people who weren't listening to us or didn't care about us.
Did
or
you even sleep? Like, it feels like you had like a full-time job,
Yeah,
and
it
then you
does
added
seem-
another job plus then another comedy job.
It was a lot, yeah. But it was fun, right? It's always something.
You were
to
in your
do.
20s, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly what I
Yeah.
was just about to say. Now maybe I wouldn't want to do that. I probably, but yeah, at that time it was just like, okay, what's next? What's next?
Yes.
And there was a little, do you know FOMO,
Yeah,
fear
of
of missing out,
course,
right?
yeah.
So I always thought, well, if I say no to this job, they may not offer me another one, right?
That's a big thing
So
in Japan generally.
You know,
I
you
think.
gotta always say yes and yes and yes and yes. And
Yes,
so
I
that
see.
was probably part of the deal. And I also knew that these kind of like, you know, acting gigs or comedy gigs in Japan, they're not exactly high paying. Right, I think everyone knows
I don't know about that,
the salary that you get for acting is really low compared to the rest of the world.
Yeah, there's no unions or anything like
Exactly.
that taking care of you over here. There's ain't no
Exactly.
Hollywood, that's for sure.
I think it's the same idea that they also say to animators. It's like, well, you like that job, right?
Yes.
Like the fact that you like what you're doing is kind of reducing your salary.
And it's the way it was explained to me is in the Western world. This applies mainly to the music industry, but the artist in the Western world, the artist is at the top of the power hierarchy. So the artist is like an
Yes.
entity that employs managers and
Yeah.
agents, things like that, right? But in Japan, it's flipped.
Yep.
The artist is the bottom of the power hierarchy. And
That's
the
right.
Jimisho, the management company, has all the power,
Yeah.
and the artist gets told what to do and
Exactly.
told how little you'll get paid, and you say, "Thank you very much, sir. May I have another?"
yeah, and
I mean, I remember talking to an actor friend in LA, and he was like, "Yeah, oh God, I gotta pay my agent, and it's due today." And I'm like, "You have to pay your agent? What does that mean?" And he said, "Well, because the money from the whatever gig comes to him,
oh,
and
what?
then he takes the 10% and pays the agent what they're supposed to get." So it's like.
Yeah.
It's the opposite. Here, you're just, please, sir, may I have another?
That's not what happens here.
Sometimes you don't
Yes.
even know how much you actually get paid. You just
you-
get
it's-
something that the
exactly.
agency throws your way, and you're just happy
Right.
with it.
Sometimes you might do the job, then afterwards they say you don't get paid.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
After we took our cut, there was nothing left.
Yep.
Okay, cool. So, all right. So you're NHK.
Yep.
You're a comedian, and then Ultraman.
Ultraman.
Max. So Tiny Chihiro gets Dad to see you
Yes.
on NHK. Dad says, "Get me this foreigner."
Yeah, and this is another fun. Like, you know, life is a lot about luck, right? Let's all admit it. You know, and the way I like to think about luck is a combination of timing and preparation.
Yes.
Right. That's what luck is when you think about it, right? And so, I had actually quit the agency when I was in the middle of my 3-year NHK Eigo de Asobo contract.
wow.
Oh, you can do that? Don't they just go?
I was gonna
you're
say,
not
they
allowed
wouldn't
to
like
do
that.
There
anymore?
was no. I had a very specific reason. I guess we could tell this story. It's been 20 years, right? So the shacho, the CEO of the agency, got into a little trouble with a group of people that you don't want to get into trouble with.
Oh dear.
Oh, so,
Yes.
so the agency kind of got dissolved.
So the
because then you
the
leaving.
the CEO had to run away.
What, from Japan?
So
I-
yes.
He was gone.
Oh no.
Wow, man.
Drama.
Yo,
I'm gonna pour
later
some more
on, off
tea.
camera, let's hear more about that
yes,
story.
yes. So it was the perfect opportunity for me to be like, yeah, you know, this is maybe not the place I want to be involved with. So, and I knew I had like 2 more years of this contract. So why give them 30% of something that I've already got, right?
Yes.
So to me, that was sort of a business decision I made. Let's self-manage because
You were lucky though, because I know a lot of those contracts are like, if you leave our agency, you can't work in the field for 3 years, right?
no,
Try to
no,
Those
yeah.
kind of
blacklist you,
those
try to-
kind of
Well,
like
but
terrible
again,
contracts.
because there was no blacker black than that for the
Right.
so
He
everyone was
messed up, yeah.
everyone was like, oh, you're getting out of that mess, I see. So it was okay. I never had to.
So, hang on, so that mess did not find its way to you
Nope.
in any way.
No,
Well,
no.
thank goodness for that,
good.
mate.
You got out of there clean.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're self-managing.
Yes. Okay. So the guys at Ultraman
Yes.
called my old agency because obviously that's where I'm registered. and stuff like that. And
Oh, but you're not there anymore.
Well, the company's not there anymore, right?
Oh man, yeah. How did they find you then?
Okay, so this is crazy. So I was at a friend's house. Great guy, Brian Kobo. If you're out there,
Kobo.
it's all for you.
Brian.
I don't know if you know Brian Kobo. Great guy. You
Don't
should
know
meet him
Brian
someday.
Coburn, but let's chill.
Yes. He was having a home party, and I walk in, and he's like, "Hey, this is my friend Sean. He's on Eigo de Asobo. Do something funny." And I'm like, "Yeah, shut up, whatever." Okay. Then someone in the back pops up and says, "Sean from Eigo de Asobo. What? She was the head of, not the head of PR, but for the Ultraman series on TBS, which is Tokyo Broadcasting. Not. She was the PR person in charge. So her boss had said, "I'm trying to find this guy. Help me find him." And there we walk into the same room at Brian Kobo's house.
That is
Yes,
fate.
it is.
That
it
is
is.
fate.
That
That
is
is
like that. You just said luck. A lot of his luck and timing, and that was luck and timing.
Perfect.
Yes. And so,
Wow.
but the problem was it had become so late in the game that they had already scheduled an audition.
Oh, right.
And they gave up on the idea of having a foreigner do it.
No.
So they originally it wasn't supposed to be a foreigner. It was going to be a Japanese. Tabata was the guy's name.
Right.
And
That's not Shaun White.
yeah, exactly. That wouldn't have the nice ring to it, right, as Shaun White does. But they had called about 30 people into the audition. They're all Japanese. So I walk in. And I think I think it's going to be another one of those auditions where I sit down at a boardroom table and be like, "Hey, I'm Sean. Nice to meet you. Done? Okay." And it wasn't that at all. I walked into a room with 30 people, all Japanese. And I was like, "Oh my God."
And trained actors and whatnot.
Yeah. This is not kind of what we talked about. What's going on here? Well, it turns out it was because it was so late. They had already called people in. They didn't want to cancel it, so saving face and stuff. And they wanted to make sure I was not a douche.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Be good, also still fitting for that.
Yeah, exactly. So I did a proper audition. I read lines. They teamed us up, and we kind of because Ultraman is a team of people really well.
Yeah.
There's the Dash is what we called our team, Team Dash, and so we kind of paired up with different people, and then they got us all together, and they said, "Okay, this is it." And they chose me, so that was great.
It's amazing.
Yes.
Just quickly, I just remembered or realized some of our viewers potentially don't know what Ultraman is.
Oh,
so let's just
we should
tell
talk
them.
about
Yeah,
Ultraman.
Ultraman is from what I understand, and then you can maybe fill us in with the extra details. Ultraman is something like Power Rangers, any kind of Sentai tokusatsu movie
Yes.
where people get in a suit and fight. But Ultraman is a bit different. I think he comes from outer space.
That's
so
absolutely
please
right.
help me
Basically,
there.
the most famous Japanese superhero. Superhero, can we use that word?
Yeah, he's an alien, but
Yes.
but superhero. He fights for justice and tries to. Well, so originally, what happened? Do you know the original Ultraman
Please
origin
tell
story?
me the origin
Is
story.
he only not allowed a couple of seconds on Earth? Is that the
3
original?
3 minutes.
3 minutes.
Yep.
Is that still the same?
That's still the same.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
Yep. And anyway, what happened is Ultraman was coming to Earth because he comes from this place called Nebula M78, and they are the protectors of the universe, right? And they're looking out, and when the monsters, or better known as kaiju, which is the word we want to promote that word around the world. If you don't know kaiju,
The Japanese kaiju monsters.
yes, it's the monsters. You and they're protecting the spread of kaiju throughout the universe, right? And so one day Ultraman came to Earth, and he accidentally crashed into this guy.
The sky?
No, this guy.
Oh,
this
this guy.
one guy. This one particular guy. Crashed into the sky. No, he crashed into this guy, and because he felt so bad, he was like, "Okay, well, instead of making him die, I'm going to put my body into his." And then they became sort of like half alien, half human
I see.
form, and then that allowed, with a special device, he could change into Ultraman at any time. But he could only stay Ultraman for 3 minutes at a time.
I see.
yes.
Oh, okay, so now everyone knows who Ultraman is.
Yes. And
Ultraman has a team that
Yes.
assembles around him.
Well, not every season is different. It's all kind of in the same Ultra universe, but every story is a little different. Typically, there's a team of planetary defenders who are just humans, right? We have all the top tech. We've got the guns and the rocket ships and all this stuff. But we're never able to really, really hold back the kaiju when they come because they're just too powerful for us. And so what ends up happening is Ultraman will then come and, well, sorry, let's back up a little bit. the person who is the what they call transformer into Ultraman.
What's
I'm not
his
using
name?
it transformer. They call it henshin.
Ah,
You know,
yes.
henshin trans. I don't like to use the word transform because it sounds like Transformers, which
Sure.
is a totally different franchise.
Oh, wow.
But they change into Ultraman, and then that Ultraman then defeats the monsters, and then that's. Every episode is some variation of that in some way or the other.
And
right?
it's like same with tokusatsu that people might know from Power Rangers back home is like he gets very big at times.
Yes. So
and-
tokusatsu, that word comes from the guy who invented Ultraman. His name is Tsuburaya Eiji, or Eiji Tsuburaya, however you want to say it. Last name Tsuburaya. He is the one that invented tokusatsu for the Godzilla franchise
Wow.
at Toho. Okay, so it's using perspective on the camera, the size of objects in the frame as they go back, so you can make a 6-foot guy in a rubber suit look like he's 100 feet tall.
Right, he invented that.
Yes, and so he, after Godzilla, he left Toho and started his own production company called Tsuburaya Productions. And he had one show first called Ultra Q, and then sort of like an offshoot from that, one of the characters he came up with was Ultraman, and that became a series. And now it's set a world record for the longest running continuous series in the history of the world.
That's
Wow.
amazing.
56 years, I think now.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. And you're part of that history.
Yeah, exactly.
It's incredible, man.
There's a new movie coming out right now too.
Yeah, there is.
Shin Ultraman. Oh, you want a
Shin
fun fact about Shin Ultraman?
Yeah.
I did the English subtitles for that.
Oh, he's just
Yes.
staying in the franchise.
Yes. So getting back to that, right? Ultraman is so Tsuburaya Productions is trying to promote Ultraman throughout the world, and there had been some rights issues around the Ultraman IP for about the last 20 years. Finally, those got resolved, and now they can go to the U.S. and to Europe and really push Ultraman there.
Great.
So I've been part of that. I'm actually an advisor for Tsuburaya Productions, and I help them with their communication with the U.S. audience. And one of the things we do is every month we have this live show called Ultraman Connection, which we broadcast out to everywhere in the world. You can't watch it in Japan though, unfortunately. It's geo-blocked here.
Of course it is.
I know.
Is it
right.
on which media is that?
So it's on YouTube. It's on this thing called ultramanconnection.com, which is the global sort of like portal site. And and so every month we do that. We have a show about whatever kind of topic there is. We had a Max special for our
Awesome.
1-year anniversary.
Awesome.
We brought all the Max team back.
Awesome.
We brought that awesome director Miike Takeshi back, and the kind of the creator, this another director named Yagi Yagi director. He's a really good guy too. And we all kind of, and then the hero of the show and the heroine of the show, and we all kind of, after 15 years, we all got back together, and it was really cool.
That's amazing, man. That is a
Yeah.
thing
Wow.
of beauty. Time to wrap it up.
Well, this is, I think, a really good moment to say, okay, now we started on the juicy Ultraman bit.
That's right.
This is where we're going to put a pin in it, and we're going to continue this in the next episode.
Excellent.
Cliffhanger, friends.
Cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger.
What's going to happen next?
Hold on with your fingernails so you don't slip off. We'll be back at the next episode of Cat with Beard with the one and only Sean Nichols to continue this malarkey.
Exactly.
Find out how Shaun White got his name. Next.
I love it.
And feel free to promote yourself. Where can people
Yeah, where are
find
you on the internet? People on your Instagram, what
Oh,
have
yeah. You can find me on Instagram at Sean Nichols, my full name. Really easy.
you? SEAN for the Sean.
Yes,
It's not
SEANNICHOLS. Catch me there. I'll see you.
Twitter and Facebook and all kinds of
Yeah,
stuff.
Twitter. You can find me on Twitter too. Twitter at Sean Kuhn, SEANKUN. What else we got? That's enough.
And the Max platform site as
Yes.
well, where you stream.
UltramanConnection.com.
There you go.
Go check it out.
Check it out.
Well, you guys can watch it. We can't because it's geo-blocked.
Exactly. I know.
You're
yes.
lucky you. Cat, where do people find you on the internet?
Well, I was first going to say, Ladybird, you probably want to mention that awesome belt. That's
Just
been sitting
quickly,
there
I just
inside
came
an
back
entire
from
episode.
Chile where I performed at Gamers City and I wrestled at Gamers City and I won the first ever Gamers Championship at Gamers City. This is my belt. I was very excited. I didn't know there was a belt until I won the match and then they gave me the belt. So thank you very much, Gamers City. It's a
Amazing.
beautiful belt. Very happy. Thank you,
Congratulations.
sir. Thank you very
Congrats.
much. It's a wonderful belt. I'm pretty sure I'm the permanent holder of this belt, so it's pretty amazing. Thank you very much, Gamers
Keep it
City.
here in Japan.
Ladybeard on the internet at Ladybeard_Japan, the places, and my group, Babybeard at Babybeard_Japan. Our new songs just started streaming, so please go and check out our new songs, one of which is called Twisted Kaiju Tale. We have a song about a kaiju.
Oh my God.
This has worked out perfect. I was going to interrupt the kaiju part before, but I just kept it going till the end.
Perfect timing now.
Go listen to Twisted Kaiju Tale by Babybeard and all the listening to music places, and follow the Ladybeard at _Japan and the Babybeard _Japan. And I'm coming to Lisbon May 13, 14, 12, 13. 13, 14, I'll be in Lisbon, so if you're anywhere near the beautiful country of Portugal, come and say hello, Cathy Cat. Where are you on the internet?
Cathy Cat Underbar TV on Twitch. I am streaming regularly. And also, on top of that, I'm actually going to go to Germany. So I'll see a lot of peeps Germany at Animuk in Munich. Oh, God, by this timing, it might already be over there. Damn it. But I hope we'll have met a couple of you guys in Germany. And also, I'm looking forward to streaming regularly again on Twitch, CathyCat_TV, on Instagram as well, Twitter, Twitch, all the shenanigans. And I'm looking forward to seeing you.
NHK
Japan
Railway Journal.
Oh, you got it down
Cool.
now
Some
for
of
an
the free
entire
magical
year.
Japan Railway Journals? That sounds
Journal,
really
yes.
otaku. Boy, what is that all
Exactly.
about?
We're going to talk about that in the next episode.
Oh, awesome. I can't wait.
Let's do it.
All right, so we'll see you very soon with more Sean Nichols on
Cat with Beard.
See ya.
Bye-bye.